Fading off into the background.
Bluetooth's dying.
Yeah, we've lost you completely now.
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
I was going to ask you what the simplest possible American tax return is for an American that is living in Canada.
Are you talking about the cost, or what you would do?
Well, I'm not that rich. I don't have a lot of income.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. If we're talking about what we charge,
Are you a U.S. citizen
He's a
wanting to
US
file
citizen.
back?
What the simplest tax return is. So what's the situation? What would the simplest tax return be?
I'm not sure that that's what he is. You're an American citizen, obviously, because you know about all the DEC stuff and the
And
original
ARPANET
six.
and that sort of thing, yep.
Okay, is that a fair statement?
That is true.
Okay. As a U.S. citizen living in Canada, you have to do your U.S. tax return. I don't care how simple it is, how little money you have. You better do your U.S. tax return, particularly if you have a U.S. bank account. Now, did you listen to the first hour of this program?
I did.
You did. So you've heard Gary down in Texas and I talking about it. And the penalties, do you have an RRSP by any chance?
Do I what?
Do you have a registered retirement savings plan?
Yeah, I have an IRA down in the States.
I know. Okay, your IRA doesn't count. Do you have
Canadian-
a Canadian RRSP?
I do not have any RRSPs in Canada.
Do you have a
Okay,
Canadian bank account?
I do. I'm filing my T90s.
You're doing your TDF 90s.
Yep.
Okay. You got to do your tax return. It's a 1040, not a 1040 NR. You do a 1040 if you're a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
You have to do Schedule B. And on Schedule B, you have to check off if you have more than $10,000 in the account, which you must have if you're doing TDF 90s. On Schedule B, you have to say yes to question 7. If you don't have a RRSP, you say no to question 8. Your income, if you've earned income, i.e. if you've got income from Canada for wages or self-employment, you put that on the tax return as either as a Schedule C or line 7 if it's wages from a company. And then you can exempt up to just about $87,500, or I don't even know what it is for 2009. Is it 90,000 now? Anyway, you get to exempt just about 90,000 if you're got wages or self-employment income, and you take that off in Form 2555, or you do a foreign tax credit on Form 1116, which is what I prefer to do, and claim the foreign tax credit for the taxes that you paid to Canada. Now, do you have any interest, dividends, or capital gains coming from the States?
No capital gains. No stock.
No stock? Have you got any interest coming from the States?
There might be something like 10 or 15 bucks from a checking account or something like that. I severed most of my ties with the States.
Well, not enough to get excited about, but again, you'd put your $10 or $15 on line B, line 8 of the tax return, or 9, and you would then convert it to Canadian dollars and throw it on line 121 of the Canadian return. So, yeah, that's
And file the last 6 years if you haven't filed them.
I've only landed immigrant the last 3 years. My first year, I took no income at all because it was kind of a cross thing. So
You
I
still
didn't
have
do
to
any
file.
work at all.
Okay. And then what about
I had about $70,000 in my second year and $50,000 here in my third year.
Okay. And did you do your U.S. returns?
I did my Canadian returns, and I'm working on my U.S. returns right now.
Well, I just gave you the information of what you need. If you only earned $70,000 in 2007, or 2008, I guess we're talking about in Canada, then that 2008 tax return, you can exempt the whole $70,000 by filing Form 2555.
And
Or
you said something that you prefer the foreign tax credit?
I prefer doing the foreign tax credit, which is Form 1116. So you show the tax you paid to Canada, convert it to U.S. dollars, put it on Form 1116, and that's a better way to do it, in my humble opinion. So this is
You're
interesting.
great. Now, next week, can we see your cars? Can we go through your car collection while you gab?
No, it's dark here.
Well, if I stood up and looked out the window, I could see a Jaguar pickup truck, and a 85 Jaguar pickup truck, which is the only one we know of in the world. I know of another one that's an 86 and one that's a 90. And then I've got a 73 Citroen SM.
Yeah, the SM, I've actually driven an SM, David.
They're amazing cars.
They are. They're simply amazing. I imagine you use the green blood.
Say that again?
The green, you have to use special hydraulic fluid for those cars.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very specific fluid. An ordinary hydraulic fluid tends to develop more leaks, and mine is full of leaks.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
It's also full of leaves.
Hey, well, thanks very much for making all this information available, David.
Okay.
And we look forward to maybe gabbing with you next week. I always like the computer talk, and I still think you should do an episode on all your cars. Dave Leno be damned. David Ingram, he's got more cool cars.
Well, no, Jay Leno's got, but I'll tell you a funny story, and this is true, absolutely true. Jay Leno was in the same room that we're sitting in right now, in this house, in about 1981. I can't remember the day. I've got to figure out the day sometime. He was flat broke, had come to Vancouver, as I understand it, on a bus, and didn't own a vehicle at the time. He was a stand-up comedian, and he came up and was a guest on the Alan Thicke show, which was, Alan Thicke was married to Gloria Loring at the time, but he's a Canadian, and he went on to do Growing Pains and a few other things like that, right? Anyway, making a long story short, I had a 76 white Eldorado convertible at the time. I had a Mercedes convertible. I had over 200 cars at the time. And Jay Leno and Alan both loved the 76 white Eldorado convertible. And I thought it was really cute because a year and a half later, I'm down in L.A. at Alan Thicke's house, and he's bought himself a 76 white Eldorado convertible and told me that Jay Leno had one too. And Jay Leno has a wonderful Citroen SM. He's got a 72, I think it is. It's a gray one. And if you go on to Google and you do Jay Leno and YouTube and the Citroen SM, you'll find about a 7-minute deal of him driving his Citroen SM. So, but that's a true story. Really happened here, and I got lots of them like that. But I appreciate the thought of that. We'll maybe take some pictures of some of the cars one of these days.
I think we'll do that.